A couple of weeks ago, Lisa and I had the pleasure of meeting a new potential landlord. We were introduced to this person through our amazing referral partnership program. And this landlord was walking us through their property, and we were looking around. They were very knowledgeable about their property and how everything worked. It had been their primary residence before they moved into state. And basically, we started talking through about why we were there, because it was very clear to us that they were experienced landlords and that they already had a property manager. And as we started talking through all of the components of, how we get to why you would want to change, she turned and looked at both of us and said, well, I don't know if I'm changing because I actually love my property manager. And I said, okay, that's really incredible feedback. Why are we meeting with you, and what's sort of allowing for this window of opportunity for us? She said, I just feel that when I'm on leave, my property manager doesn't have a very experienced team, and so she is unsupported in those spaces, and I'm just worried if there was a large issue when she was on leave, how that would be managed. There were a few bits and pieces. They mentioned a few little examples of things not going right, but they weren't huge. In her mind, if there was a larger sort of property maintenance issue while she was away, it would sort of get lost and maybe, cause more significant damage to her property. So as we kept talking through that, I said, oh, who is your property manager? And she mentioned a name, and I said, that person is actually really incredible. I have worked with that person before. So we would be very lucky to win this business over her. And I suppose that sort of transitioned us into why Alf & Co. and on why Lisa and I. And I suppose this landlord had actually articulated why we had started this business. And we've started this business because we saw a gap in the market, that there were maybe one or two great property managers and teams, but the rest of the team was maybe less experienced, and or the structures maybe weren't right to allow people to take leave or, do what they needed to do without things falling apart in that portfolio. So Lisa and I have structured this business so that it is director-led. We both have more than 20 years experience in property management, and you will either speak to Lisa or you will speak to myself. So you won't be sort of left to deal with anybody else who might not be as experienced or be filling in from a different job that they're employed to do. Lisa and I will be your people. So we were super excited in that scenario because that person really understood what we were trying to bring to the table. And as it turned out, we secured that business and we leased that property, and we now manage it. So I suppose my message to other landlords is that, yes, you may like your property manager, but are they well supported? And what happens when they go on leave? Because, you still have a tenant in that property who's paying rent, and there will still be issues that come up. And is the team as experienced as your property manager? Because there are a lot of amazing property managers out there. I've worked with very many of them over the years, but some of them are unsupported. So we built this business to align ourselves with landlords who wanted bespoke service and continuity to make sure that their properties and their tenants were well looked after throughout the whole tenancy. If we can help you with any of your property management needs, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.